Morning, I'm Ali, author of the Ollie and Superpower books, and I guess creator of the Ollie model that's just changing kids' and adults' worlds everywhere. I get emails with lots of questions, so I could email back, but I'm a little dyslexic and you wouldn't understand what I'd written, so I figured I'd do it this way. So let's answer some of those questions. First of all, is Ollie just for kids? Absolutely not. We work with everybody. I used to say 7 to 70. That's now about 5 to 105. Because here's the thing, the things that we face in adulthood, the things that are holding us back, worse, cliche as it sounds, usually created in our childhood, and if not fixed, if not dealt with, they stay with us, travel with us, escalate, change, take over. So the Ollie model works just as well for adults. We just change the language. When I'm working with adults, I don't call your emotions superpowers, I call them parts. Same with teenagers. Some teenagers just, don't want parts, don't want superpowers. For example, I have one young lad and I said, so what would you call your angry emotion? And he said, vexed. So when I'm working with him, his superpower, his angry superpower is vexed. It just changed the language, but the principle's the same. We've all got all these emotions and they just want to be heard. And most of the time, they're just trying to do the right thing by us and get us through life. Every now and again, one of them hijacks us, gets really, really loud, takes over. And when it takes over, you see through its eyes, you hear only what it wants to hear, and you can only think the way it thinks. And that's why we kind of get stuck in an emotional state sometimes. So now Ollie's not just for kids. More importantly than that, if we just worked with children and we taught them how to use their superpowers and then sent them back out into school, home, where nobody else understood superpowers, emotions, parts, vexed, whatever you want to call it, then the children couldn't exercise what they've learned. So one of the key things that we do is we involve everybody in the child's environment, parents, teachers, care workers, everybody. And we do that through mental training, where we actually teach the adults in the child's world to use some of the techniques. Not to be therapists, that's our job, and we're really good at it, but just to use some simple techniques so that they can help the child to exercise these superpowers, build up the muscles. The other question I get asked a lot is, does Ollie work for children with additional needs? Well, my attitude on that is, every child that we meet is unique, and I think that's another key thing that we do in the Ollie concept. We don't have a one-size-fits-all. So our therapists are fantastic at just working with what's in front of them with no preconceived conceptions or ideas. Additional needs? We have specialists. I'm not one of them, although I'm putting myself through some training for it because it's a subject very dear to my heart, that utilise the Ollie concept with Asperger's, with autism, and with a whole spectrum of additional needs. Because here's the thing, Ollie principally is about communication. Right now I'm communicating, I'm using my voice. But there's loads of ways to communicate. Facial expression. You get the point. Touch, sound. Anything and everything is communication. And the principle is the same, and that's why the model transfers so well into the world of additional needs. And I'm really proud that it does that. We all communicate in a very specific way, and our coaches are adept at noticing how any individual communicates, which is fantastic when we are working with children and adults with additional needs. What we don't do is, you're not buying into this, you're not working with me, because the person we're working with cannot communicate in the way that suits us best. We go out of our way to look at how they do communicate, and we try and learn. We try and learn how they communicate so that we are both speaking the same language. So yeah, Ollie transfers really well into the world of additional needs. Hope that helps. Bye.